Howdy folks, welcome back to Delboy's Garage. This is episode 4 of Project Belly Pan. Now last night, as you know, got all the steel done. It's roughly done, it's cut, all the cuts are correct, and there are a few kinks that, if you remember, was a little bit twisted, so that's got to be straightened and lap that off the back, ready for weldage. This is pretty much correct. It's completely square, and the sides are okay. There's a little kink in the back edge of that. You'll be able to see. It's not quite perfect, so just a little bit of manipulation. And another one that's, I can do this with one hand. This rear piece here, that curve has got to fit. I'm going to do this with one hand. It's got to fit. Yeah, look at that. Oh god, I'm so good I freaked myself out. That, oh, maybe not. Fail. Right, I'll try again. I shall just keep trying. Okay. No, that ain't gonna work. Now that edge. Dun, dun, dun. Just gonna lose it in a minute. Right, that edge there. There's a couple of places where, as you can see at this bottom edge, it's not 100% the correct same curve. That curve there is a perfectly smooth arc with no ripples or lumps in, and that's correct. So if there's any distance, it's just where this curve isn't quite correct. So all I've got to do is, without hitting it with a hammer, I'm just going to gently manipulate that so that that's a perfect curve to both of these. So there's a little bit of messing about and getting these so that they all fit each other perfectly, then a little sort of magnet sort of build up, and then perhaps some early tacking in place. What I'm going to do as well, you'll remember this old plate rack that I used to make the air filter side cover. These bits of steel, what I'm going to do is on the inside edge of the work, I'm going to put a bar down the inside. So I'm not just going to tack it butt weld to butt weld, because I just think that's a bit weak and flimsy. It's going to have this on the inside welded, and that should be a lot better. That should work much better, give it strength, and then I can grind the outside into a nice curve. All to be seen later. That's what's going to happen. Anyway, that's it for now. I've got a little bit of messing about to do to get these mocked up in their correct position. So I use the magnets and tape just to hold it in, and then get some basic tacks on it. Then I can get out to the bike and see if it fits when it's actually tacked into one piece. Okay, stick around, stay tuned, let's see what happens. Okay, so after a little bit of pulling around, there it pretty much is, held in place with magnets at the minute. Some weld magnets hold it in, and that's got it correct. Got that seam either side correct so that they sit parallel and everything's square and true. So I just got to get some tacks, literally a few basic tacks into it so it sits up on its own, and then make sure that when I bolt it on the bike it's still square. So let's get the welder set up. Alright, all set up. Got some of that bar in there just to give me the strength it needs. Let's sting it. Okay, that's tacked it. These up. Alright, looking good. That's it. Tacked up and bolted in place. I like that. All I've got to do now is weld it up. Excellent. Right, let's take it off, do some proper welding. Okay, just going to brace it with the magnets again. Measure. Gap between those on the bike is 163mm, and that's all the way around. Nice and 163. Excellent. Okay. It's just going to be a case of tacking that left and right all the way along until it's fully welded. Okay, mind your eyes. Come around this side. Okay, you join me a little later. Now, as you can see, I've welded my usual tack, 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 and I've put that little bead in the joint. What I deliberately did was use this stuff and lay it, curve it, and then lay it in there, and then weld either side of it all the way along, and that's effectively buried a piece of that 5mm steel. It's just buried it in that corner, so that's almost a complete chamfer. You could kind of dress file that, although it will never ever get seen because it's going to get boxed in, so I shan't bother. It gives the ability to make it incredibly strong and to prevent this from moving. I mean, that just doesn't want to move. And what I've obviously done, as usual, made sure that the penetration all the way along is absolutely perfect, right the way through the steel without blowing it. A couple of places there, those little white circles you see there, those, focus on them, those white circles are just where it's almost come through. It's got white hot, so that proves you've got maximum penetration just on the point of it bursting through, but it's not. So that shows temperature settings right, everything's right in the welder. It's just the monkey boy with the gun. You can't get it pretty, but as one of you guys has said, need to practice the welding. I do. My welding's just crap, but it's strong and it never ever falls apart, and that's more important to me. I know that my welding's untidy, it will get better, but this is not going to get seen. So that's all been tacked along. It's nicely penetrated, so that's strong as an ox. I just tried it on a bike and it sits perfectly. The other thing is square. Thanks. Now, measuring it across there, you remember it's 163mm across that joint, and that is still 163mm all the way around. So it stayed completely square, completely true, and 90. Proof of that was, if you get a weld mag, poke it in there, you can see by looking in that gap, that is 90, that is parallel all the way up. Just get it exact. So that's effectively stayed absolutely 90, and the other side's the same. So I'm really pleased with that. It's a good strong weld, everything stayed true. That's nicely fabricated, that's strong. Wouldn't win any prizes for prettiness, but there's no prize anyway. Only that it doesn't fall apart. So all I've got to do now is these little bits of rod that have protruded, I just did them proud. Just going to grind them flat and then get the base on there. They're just getting in the way a little bit at the minute. So I'm just going to grind them flat, do a little bit of lapping, tidy that up slightly, then it's time to weld the base on. Stick around, stay tuned. Okay, after pretty much a mammoth weld tonight, that's just got about everything done. I've got the base in now. The reason that the base only comes to there is that about kind of here, the frame bar or the two frame stays going to come underneath. So this could have only come back about another inch at the most. So I've left it there, a little bit of space up underneath, and that's how I run out of steel here anyway. So usual old story, nicely penetrated through. What I've done on the inside, I've done some more of that, which has just got to be cleaned up. Just put the little bar in it, so that's mega strong. But obviously down in there, there's nothing I can do, so I've had to weld that little front, and that's about as tidy as I can get it. That can be dressed back quite easily, but it needs to be welded along there. It needs to be one piece because that's kind of a fierce edge, goes at the weld, and I can grind that round. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to test fit it on the bike and make sure that everything fits. But before I do that, I'm just going to get the old lapper of doom, and I'm going to clean all that back, make it look tidy and birdy, and then we can get it fitted and see what it looks like. Stick around. Okay, bit of grinding. Cleaned it all up now, so that's the part so far. It's almost ready for body working. Kind of like that, kind of shiny. So I've said this before with manufacturing these parts, it'd be great if you could just leave them like that. You know, maybe I should get into stainless and just ride around with them like that. That'd look so cool. But that's mild steel and it will rust in a moment, especially in England. Just got a little bit of cleaning up to do in there, get a bit of that scuzz off the welds, and I just thought I'd test fit it, but as you can see I just run out of daylight. It's about, let's have a look, it's 10 o'clock, right, that's another 4 hours. What's that, 16 hours so far. These things, fabricating anything, I've said this before, just takes forever. And when you see these guys that fabricate things and charge so much money for choppers and hand-built bikes, you can see why. It just takes hundreds and hundreds of hours. 16 hours just in that, and it ain't half finished yet. So I'm just going to quick test fit that and see what it looks like. I don't know if I can do it. Just going to move the bike in, get the light on it so you can see what it looks like in situ. And there we are. Bit lame in these lights, but that's the article. All fitted. Not looking too bad at all actually. I quite like that. It's good and solid. It ain't going anywhere. And I've got a view. What I want to do with this. Let's get down a bit. Check the angle. It follows the frame perfectly. There's a couple of little marks like there where the weld has just come out proud, and there's just a little tiny recess. I'm going to just dab that with the welder, any of these little tiny points, because that is completely square, straight, true, 90 degrees, and it doesn't need any filler. I want to finish this and bodywork it without any Bondo or filler at all. I don't want any P38 in this, just a little bit of primer and loads and loads of paint. So all the little tiny points, I'm just going to dab them with the welder tomorrow night and just fill them up, and then make the thing steel, all steel, nothing but steel, and that's really going to be something I'll be proud of. I don't want it to be any sort of fake filler on it, anything else. I know you need it sometimes, but this is good enough. It's come out well enough not to need it. So tomorrow night I'm going to start the bodywork just with a few welds, and then a hand dress, cut off, you know, some of these little corners, just trim that back. These little corners here, might trim that out, take these little tabs off because just don't need them. They were there just as it is. As soon as that comes to that level, that's obviously got to come there. Just going to run that down. So just a little bit of dressing, cutting and trimming, just to make the thing fine. But the shape's super fine. Very happy with that. That's all for tonight. Thanks for tuning in and watching Delboy's Garage. Start the bodywork tomorrow. See you then.